What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Thursday. Glad to have everybody along. Another conversation about the Titans as they move closer to the game against the Washington Commanders in Washington, going on the road for back-to-back weeks and hoping for a third straight win for the Titans to maybe get to 3-2 before they head into a bye week. And injuries are absolutely a part of this conversation, as Treylon Burks missed practice yesterday with his turf toe injury. And so what does that mean for the Titans offense as they go up to Washington to figure out how can they have playmakers outside of Derrick Henry and Robert Woods for this offense to try to get that third consecutive win? So 4 players on offense who need to step up and show out against the Commanders for the Titans to get to 3-2. And honestly, guys, we'll learn more about turf toe and Treylon Burks' timeline with a Doc Talk segment later on today, 12:15 Central Time. That's 12:15 Central Time on these same channels, presented by the Bone and Joint Institute. So, Zach, I'm curious to learn about all of that too. And then we're going to have a conversation today that we had thought about doing yesterday about the Washington Commanders and how unlikable they are as a franchise. And we're going to compare them to a couple other NFL teams as well. And then it is Thursday, which means the Magic Bucket is here. And Zach, it is my sticker week, and I had to scramble some this morning, but I am prepared with a sticker. So welcome in. Let's get this Thursday on the roll.
Well, you didn't have to scramble as much as I did because of my internet issue. Yep. Somebody is going to get verbally destroyed today that works for Xfinity. And it is illegal for me to record that call, but just everybody in the chat, say a quick prayer for that person that I talked to. So that's my morning. We will get on with the show, right? Because the show's got to go on. The show will go on as we broadcast from Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We will tweet out link by link, segment by segment, our YouTube links on our Twitter feed at A to Z Sports. So you can follow us there. So hit us up on Twitter at A to Z Sports and subscribe to our YouTube channel, A to Z Sports Nashville. You can go search YouTube, A to Z Sports Nashville, and we've got you hooked up. Great content, locker room content, post-game content, press conference content, and obviously live streams that you're watching now. So hit the like if you're watching this show currently on YouTube and subscribe. And Facebook, the Real OGs, bottom left corner of your screen. Sharing out of public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing. On this show, we want everybody to share the show. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. That's how our show is distributed. That's how we are getting closer and closer to 100,000 followers on Facebook, which we love each and every one of you. We appreciate the growth that we've had. So share the show. We need to pop up in those people's Facebook, your friends' Facebook news feed. So let's get this party started. Again, save a prayer for Xfinity because I am going to destroy them here in about 2.5 hours. But we got to talk Titans. So let's get this party started.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network. And we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Find links to the show on our Twitter timeline, also on Instagram and TikTok. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out you guys. Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process by going to see them in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans, get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage, rates, and service. Learn more about a health plan for you, fbhp.com/ATOZ. And Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call them 800-800-4600. So, Zach, the injury report yesterday, a lot of the same type of names on the Titans injury report, and that's Zach Cunningham with the elbow. The good thing that Monty Rice is back. Ola Daney out again yesterday, and some others. But Amani Hooker was back from concussion protocol to be limited in practice, which is a great step, as well as Monty Rice making his first practice after being elevated and activated to return from IR. But Treylon Burks out from practice yesterday with a toe injury. It was reported earlier in the week, Zach, and we've got this via Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, where Treylon Burks says he had a turf toe in that foot that he hurt against Indy. No surgery necessary, just rehab, but Burks will miss some time. So we expect him to miss this Washington game. Then there's the bye week. Then the Colts come to Nashville, but you got to win this game at Washington. I had 6 games for the Titans on the schedule that were gotta wins. Well, they already lost one of my 6 gotta wins against the New York Giants, so they can't afford to drop another one against Washington, and somebody else is going to have to step up on this offense.
Yeah, and that was, the concern going into this season is who is going to rise to the occasion and rise to the top. Now we're really going to find out, right? We're going to not be able to see Treylon Burks for a period of time. The turf toe injury is going to linger. That thing's not going to go away all season. So you hope that it doesn't affect his explosiveness and his playmaking ability. That is one of the reasons why they drafted him in the first rounds. Look, injuries occur, so you can't get upset. We saw that a lot last year with this Titans roster and this team and this offense in particular. So, they were able to win games with some lesser players. They're going to have to do that again. I think the hard part is, here's the good part. The good news is you found that Robert Woods is a reliable resource. You know what you have in Derrick Henry. So those are 2 pieces. You traded for Robert Woods, and he is a good quality number 2 wide receiver. Your number 1 wide receiver is not going to come back here in the next couple of weeks or however long the turf toe actually keeps him out, as he was in a boot and crutches right after it happened in Indy. But other guys that are just not as talented, they just aren't, as first-round picks or guys like Robert Woods or Derrick Henry, they're going to have to impact this offense in a positive way. And we've picked out 4 guys in particular, but I think the hard part, Austin, is through training camp, I think we saw glimpses of some of these players do really, really well. And then the season hit, and look, Josh Gordon is Josh Gordon. You've heard my opinion on Josh Gordon. Kyle Phillips has been dealing with injuries. Austin Hooper has been dealing with injuries, so let's recognize that. But his ability within this offense hasn't been great. And then you've got NWI, who, look, he's been a part of this group, and he's been the most experienced wide receiver that went into training camp, has been a part of this organization, but he's just not a consistent player. 0 catches and 0 targets against Indy. Big-time players don't get those type of numbers. So and something's got to change.
Yeah, with NWI, I mean, the week before against the Raiders, he had 3 big catches that all converted first downs. And those were big catches for the Titans to be able to win that Raiders game, and then did not show up in the stat sheet against the Colts. So let's hear from Ryan Tannehill, because Ryan Tannehill was asked about Treylon Burks and what they're going to miss with not having Treylon Burks potentially for a period of time. And then he had a follow-up question about one of these 4 options that we'll talk about here in a second.
Yeah, Treylon's obviously a tough guy to replace, but gives other guys opportunities. So, whoever ends up stepping in there for us and getting a bigger role was going to have to come up huge for us. So, we have big, strong physical receivers who can use their size and strength to create some space. So we're going to have to do that moving forward.
How's this thing going with your relationship with Josh in terms of getting him up to speed and where you want him to be part of this?
Yeah, Josh has been out here for a few weeks now, so I think he's learning, as we go forward, and we'll continue to try to do that, including this week.
So Josh Gordon, follow-up question by Terry McCormick there, Zach. So let's go ahead and ask this question to get everybody involved here. And the question's pretty simple. Is it who steps up? Who needs to show out, really, who will show out against the Washington Commanders? Austin Hooper, Josh Gordon, NWI, or is it Kyle Phillips? Who will show out to step up for the Titans offense against the Commanders? Austin Hooper, Josh Gordon, NWI, or Kyle Phillips? But first, Zach, tell everybody about our great friends at Wilson County Hyundai.
Wilson County Hyundai is where you need to go to get your next ride. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Whether it's the Palisade, the Sonata, the Elantra, the Tucson, they have you hooked up with your perfect make and model. You've just got to go find it. You can find it online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com or you could take the quick trip down I-40 exit 236 and test drive one of these vehicles. We love Wilson County Hyundai. They've been a great sponsor for years now. Payne Bone is family owned and operated. Payne Bone owns Wilson County Hyundai, and his staff will make sure that you have a great experience at a great price. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Also, don't forget, download the BetMGM app, and it's a great time to do it because you get a risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000 when you use our code ATOZ Sports. So it's pretty easy right there. You download the BetMGM app, plug in that code ATOZ Sports. You make your first deposit, and their first bet on pro football, risk-free up to $1,000. So check that out today. Zach, the question we're asking here is, who will step up for the Titans in the place of the injured Treylon Burks? Austin Hooper, Kyle Phillips, NWI, Josh Gordon. What's the chat saying this morning?
I'll let you go to the chat real quick.
All right, I'll do that. Appreciate that. But let's go to the chat. Hot Doobie says NWI got to show up. Stanley says NWI. Don't need anything crazy. Just need someone to convert first downs. Paulie D says Kyle Phillips. We've seen what NWI can do already. The tight ends stay in the block, which is not a bad comment because Austin Hooper and Jeff Swaim have been called on to block a lot more. Sean says it's time for NWI again. Kevin says they're going to elevate Dez instead of Josh Gordon. The wide receiver depth sucks. I don't think Dez Fitzpatrick is anywhere close to having an opportunity here. So Brian says, seriously, get real. It's none of them. None of them are going to step up for the injured Treylon Burks. Josh Brown says Phillips will have 70-plus yards in his opinion. Edward says Kyle will always be available. I want to see Josh to see what he has left in the tank. Brian goes off the board with Chig will show out on Sunday. Deshaun Washington says NWI. It says, remember, you cannot spell win without NWI from Zach Goodman. Anthony also says none of them have made any significant impact this far. I disagree. I think NWI helped them win that Raiders game with 3 big catches to convert first downs, a couple of them on 3rd and longs against the Raiders. So they had that. And then Lucas brings up, how about Dontrell Hilliard? And I think that's an interesting point, and I'll toss it over to you. Dontrell Hilliard, a few times this season, has helped the Titans get out of a bad spot when it's come to a 3rd and long or scoring touchdowns against the Giants too. So Dontrell Hilliard could be an option. But when you're trying to replace Treylon Burks, you have to focus on the full-time pass catchers, which are the 4 guys we have today.
Yeah, you can't do check down, screen down central to replace Treylon Burks. And that's what Hilliard, and he had a great game against the Giants, impactful with 2 touchdowns. I think it's a simple answer, and I think it can elevate and evolve the offense. And it's Austin Hooper. They've got to use their tight ends. A little sprinkle of Chig, and we saw that against Indianapolis. They have the routes and they have the plays for the tight end, but Austin Hooper needs to utilize what he was doing, back in his Atlanta days, early in his Cleveland days before he got cut. There's a reason why he got the big $40 million contract, is because he was a good tight end with the Atlanta Falcons. He got that contract with the Cleveland Browns, and this is kind of the reemergence of Austin Hooper to see what kind of player he is with the Titans. But I think the connection at tight end will help the other wide receivers. Defenders need to know that they have to defend. And here's the difficult part about Austin Hooper that you have to weigh. He has to block more because of Taylor Lewan's injury. I think that's a fact. I don't think that, but he has so much more ability than just blocking. You've got to find a way, and this goes on Todd Downing, to draw up plays, whether you can chip and then catch a ball over the middle, whether they're seam routes, whether they're quick out routes, that he can break a tackle with his big body to get upfield and get a first down. You're going to have to draw up plays for Austin Hooper while also helping him at the line of scrimmage to help your offensive line. But mine's Austin Hooper. And honestly, Austin, you and Sam influenced this answer with your reporting from training camp. I mean, you said the connection was real. I believe it was, but Showtime started and it hadn't been real.
So, again, If you asked me coming out of training camp, what's the thing you were most confident in about the entire Titans team? Like the entire damn team. Like offense, defense, special teams, everything. I would have said Austin Hooper is going to be a big part of the offense. And I think you could go around to a bunch of different media members. I know Sam's talked about this. Bucks talked about this on primetime and on radio, and a bunch of other people, because I mean, we saw it. Everybody that was there was watching that Austin Hooper was involved with Ryan Tannehill every day. And it was every day when Tannehill needed something, Austin Hooper was a reliable option to get open, catch the football, and make a play. And it just has not translated. I'm like befuddled at how that has been it's such a gap of one to the other. It's such a huge drop off from one to the other. And I think the problem with it is the tackles, one, NPF being a rookie, and then also Lawan's injury. Second, the Titans viewing Jeff Swaim as their best blocking tight end. I don't see it. I mean, he might be the best of bad, but I thought Austin Hooper was a better blocker than what Jeff Swaim has showed us in his career. But that is stolen snaps away from Austin Hooper because they feel like they have to have a blocking tight end on the field, and Swaim's that guy. And so that's limited him to just playing 40% of the snaps in Indianapolis. And so it is confusing on why he's been such a lack of having an impact. But I think when you're answering this question, because what does Treylon Burks do? What is that role of Treylon Burks supposed to do in this offense? It's a yak guy. It's a down the field, an explosive position. And if you look at all four of these guys, I mean, nobody's explosive down the field. And Josh Gordon was in 2013. But it's 2022. And so where's your explosive player that can make plays after the catch? And I'm going to answer my question, but I want us to hear Ryan Tannehill talk about Burks again and really about what he says in his answer.
Yeah, Treylon's obviously a tough guy to replace, but gives other guys opportunities. So, whoever ends up stepping in there for us and getting a bigger role was going to have to come up huge for us. So, we have big, strong physical receivers who can use their size and strength to create some space. So we're going to have to do that moving forward.
How's things going with your relationship with Josh in terms of getting him up to speed and where you want him to be part of this?
Yeah, Josh has been out here for a few weeks now, so I think he's learning, as we go forward, and we'll continue to try to do that, including this week.
So with Tannehill's answer, he talks about big body wide receiver. And so, you can rule out Kyle Phillips. He's my size, 5'11", 190-ish or something, right? So then you've got NWI and Josh Gordon. I don't think it's time for Josh Gordon. Again, Tannehill said he's only been around here for a few weeks. And because of the tackle situation, the overall blocking situation, Austin Hooper is not the person to replace Treylon Burks. So the only answer is NWI. It's Nick Westbrook-Akine. He is the guy because he is who they trust when it comes to blocking in the run game, and he is who they trust, the Titans coaching staff that is, to be able to do every job they ask their receivers to do. So the answer here is NWI has to be the guy to step up to fill the void for Treylon Burks being out, Zach.
This is not a traditional offense, though. And to be honest, it was unfair. Now I've kind of realized this now that we've seen Treylon Burks and seen a little bit more. It was completely unfair to think, even have the notion that Treylon Burks could be Justin Jefferson. I will sit here and say, man, that was stupid. That was dumb.
Well, yeah.
The offense was not going to be indicative, but that's what you drafted. Like A.J. Brown could be Justin Jefferson because of his body type, his skill set, the ability of Yak. But Treylon Burks, because of the offense, there was no way that he was either going to get the targets or the opportunity. And now injury has occurred, and he's not going to be that. And it's disappointing. But I don't even know if Treylon Burks was healthy, what he would actually be. Again, we've seen a little bit of him, so I have a little taste. I don't have a full bite, so I don't want to diagnose Burks altogether. But I think a lot of Titans fans were hoping that could be his ceiling. That is far from his ceiling. I think to ask what Treylon Burks wasn't even going to do as being like a downfield threat and all this other, highlight reel. That's why I'm focusing on Hooper, because I'm focusing what the offense represents. And the offense represents play action, just go to the open guy for space because of the tomfoolery of Derrick Henry. And we're not going to see the big plays that we saw in 2020. That was a different offensive coordinator, a different team, a different offense, and a 2,000-yard rusher. And so that's why I went with Hooper, because I thought it was more realistic for him to get catches, reliability, experience, and knowledge of the offense. That I just think he's intelligent. That's why I say knowledge of the offense, that he can get open. I trust Hooper more than I do a rookie in Kyle Phillips, Josh Gordon off of the streets, and NWI who has a low ceiling.
Yeah, but they're not. The Titans are so weird with how they handle and divvy up their snaps. And, Chigakonkwo stepped up big against Indy, though, right? And so he had 13 snaps on offense, but caught 3 passes for 38 yards and had a touchdown. That was a big deal. And then he had the game-icing, game-winning catch and first down conversion at the end and on his 13th snap. So Austin Hooper only played a little bit more snaps than what Chig played against Indianapolis. It's just about what they want to do. And the thing that I'm so confused about, and maybe we're just waiting for this, because I did see somebody commented saying that the Titans just don't throw the ball. Oh, honky tonk. They just don't attempt deep throws. They don't, because I don't know if they trust their tackles and some of their other offensive line to hold up for deep throws. And they don't have anybody without Burks, who is just a line up and run by you receiver. And so Austin Hooper, I saw in training camp, running so many quick seam vertical routes that he would catch 15 yards down the field, and that Tannehill throws that ball really well, but they don't trust the offensive line enough to hold up for that type of play. And so I think it's going to have to be NWI. But there is a wrinkle to the Josh Gordon situation that is interesting. And I don't know how the Titans feel about it, but Josh Gordon fits the big body, right? He's the big body physical receiver that Ryan Tannehill was talking about. We have seen Josh Gordon be explosive in his career. Probably the most recent was 2018 when he had a pretty solid season overall with the New England Patriots and Tom Brady. But where is Josh Gordon, and how does he fit in with this wrinkle for the Titans here? Real quick, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Guys, we have a Doc Talk segment coming up today at 12:15 Central Time with Dr. Durr, who is a foot specialist, and we're going to learn a lot about turf toe. Ian Rappaport said that rehab is necessary and no surgery needed. What type of grade of turf toe doesn't require surgery, and what type of rehab do you do on top of rest? So we're going to learn a lot about turf toe and Treylon Burks in the timeline. The Titans have not put him on injury reserve yet, which could be an interesting sign. So Doc Talk segment with Dr. Durr of the Bone and Joint Institute coming up 12:15 p.m. Central Time today on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So check us right there. And don't forget, whenever you get hurt in life, Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org.
BetMGM, we are powered by them, and you should be powered by them as well on your phone. Download the app today. BetMGM, they're hooking you up, risk-free bet up to $1,000 for new users for pro football. That's up to $1,000. Download the app and use the promo code ATOZ Sports. That's ATOZ SPORTS, all one word, no spaces in the promo code tab. Risk-free bet up to $1,000 for new users. That's BetMGM.
All right, so this wrinkle about Josh Gordon is he's still in the practice squad. He's not on the active roster. And he has been elevated for the normal game day elevations twice against the Buffalo Bills and also against the Raiders. Josh Gordon was elevated to the game day roster on a normal elevation. So the Titans, according to NFL rules, can only elevate Josh Gordon from the practice squad to the game day active roster one more time this season. If they do it one more time, then the next time Josh Gordon can play in a game is if he's signed to the active roster. So, has Josh Gordon been a part of the franchise long enough, and has he done enough in a month of practice to earn a extra elevation to then see if they need to move him and add him full time, or if they're just going to keep him on the practice squad and stash him there in a actual break glass in case of emergency? Because Caleb says one more time and then you have Racy back. I mean, you or everybody who says, oh, they're going to have Racy back. Like, you have no idea. Because Mike Vrabel said on Monday that he doesn't expect Racy McMath or Elijah Molden to practice this week and doesn't have a timeline on that. So, yeah, they're eligible to come back and practice, but that doesn't mean they're healthy enough to. Monty Rice started that yesterday, so that's a good thing. And when you come off IR, you have a 21-day window of practicing before you're activated. And so the Racy McMath thing, like, keep that in your back pocket. Don't worry about it. But you've got one more chance to elevate Josh Gordon. And if you think Treylon Burks is going to need at least 2 weeks, why not use it now against Washington to see if Josh Gordon can do something in a game to help you before you go into the bye week? You learn more about Treylon Burks and his injury status, and then see what things look like coming out of Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think the big thing to that, and that makes a lot of sense, is how serious is Burks, right? What is the doctor's diagnosis of this turf toe? If he's sitting there saying it's going to be a month, then you're in a different situation. If there's an opportunity for him to come back against Indy after the bye, then I think what you just said makes a lot of sense. Josh Gordon is Josh Gordon. Like, I think he's damn near close to washed. Now, the opportunity, the reason why he was signed last year with the Chiefs because of COVID and Tyreek Hill, and there was a situation where he got the opportunity. Now he's getting a different opportunity with the Titans because of an injury. As you said, Austin, he's had a month in the building. He should be able to learn what plays he needs to make. And ultimately, he is a physical, big body wide receiver that should, and I don't know if can, but should be able to just go up and outman guys and win battles, one-on-one battles against lesser corners or shorter corners. I don't know how much Ryan Tannehill trusts Josh Gordon, and I think that's what they're having to assess. All of the detail that you mentioned does come into play because they're playing the practice squad game in which you can. I mean, you see a lot of teams, they played the IR game last year. The NFL fixed the rules this year, right? Now it's 4 weeks. The bye doesn't count. All of these different situations. I just don't believe that Josh Gordon, he's probably last on my list. He will be my biggest surprise out of these four that we've talked about. I'll tell you this. I would have said Kyle Phillips if he was healthy, but he's not healthy. He is dealing with something. And I think that's hindering his ability, obviously, as a rookie. He had a great 2-minute drill against the Giants, but he hurt his shoulder that has, again, hindered his maturation process as a rookie. Kyle Phillips would be my pick because I believe in the trust. I've seen it on game day. He makes the most sense. I think, the Renfro connection is funny. He needs to get a little bit more playing time. That's why I went with more experience than rookiness in Kyle Phillips. But Josh Gordon, I just think he's washed. I think 2013 is a long, long time ago.
Oh, and again, 2018 is a long time ago. And in football years, 4 years is a long time.
God,
in 2018, 2018, the guy had nearly 800 yards. I mean, what would you give right now for 800 yards for a receiver? I mean, for the Titans, that would be a legitimate ad. But that was, again, 4 years ago, back in 2018. So let's do this because you made it interesting. We haven't talked a lot about Kyle Phillips today because nobody really picked him here. How would you rank these? Because you said you had Austin Hooper first. I had NWI first. You said you had Josh Gordon last. I agree. I think Josh Gordon's last out of this. So where do you put NWI and Kyle Phillips?
So I
and
go,
what do you expect from these guys? Because somebody's got to step up. Like if we remember, Treylon Burks went out of that game in like the second half, and then the Titans offense was already doing nothing in the second half, and the passing game had zero juice. They only had 28 yards of offense in the second half, which is terrible. So what do you think about where they're at here?
Here is probably my scenario is if Ryan Tannehill has, and I don't usually, and it's not smart to do math on air, but I think I can do it.
Okay.
If Ryan Tannehill has 200 yards passing, I think Robert Woods should have about 70. I'm not expecting him to get to 100, but about 70. I think my next guy in line is Austin Hooper with about 30. And then you've got
halfway there.
You've got Kyle Phillips, I think right around that 30 mark. I think Kyle Phillips, and he could get over there, but that's kind of where I'm at there. And then you've got Pepper, right? You've got the Pepper is Chig, maybe Josh Gordon for 12 yards, 1 catch. You've got NWI, maybe 15 or so yards. So the rest is made up to get to that 200 yards receiving with the secondary guys. But this is going to be a committee game. It's a committee offense. Again, A.J. Brown's gone. He is your number one guy that can bust out for $145. You don't have that on the roster. I think Robert Woods' ceiling for a singular game is probably 115 to 120. I think that's a really stellar game from Robert Woods. But you're going to have to make up the rest. You don't have any game busters. The only game buster you got is either Hilliard out of the backfield because of a busted coverage and bad defensive play, or Derrick Henry that is the outlier. But they sprinkle this thing around. That's always been the Titans offense. That's why ultimately when you get to the playoffs, that's why I think that they're not going to have the success, is because you need a game buster. Talent, players. We talked about that earlier this week. Players, they don't have them, so they got to find a different way.
All right, so I see Steven says Phillips, Hooper, NWI, then Flash. Mark says, has Treylon Burks been ruled out? No, he has not been ruled out, and the Titans have not put him on IR, which I think is interesting. They need to put him on IR before Saturday or by Saturday so that Washington game counts as one of his 4 if he's going to go on IR. Steven says, different Steven says NWI, Phillips, Gordon, then Hooper. I would put it, Zach, I expect NWI to fill the void the most. Then I think it's Kyle Phillips, then Austin Hooper. I just don't think Austin Hooper is going to be involved in this offense until they show it to me more. I mean, the guy barely even played on the offensive side of the ball. 37% of snaps against the Colts was just confusing to me. But that's what his snap count percentage has dropped every week since week 1. So they're telling us that Austin Hooper is not doing a good job or not doing what they want him to do or can't do what they need to have happen, which
it's not a bad bet by you based on playing time, right? You're hedging that NWI is more of a replacement of Burks, which is a void. I'm betting on connection. And again, I'm probably not smart in this, but I'm going based on the words of training camp, is that Tannehill found Hooper then. I think he can find him again.
Yeah, Donald says we need to stop trying to make NWI a thing. We know what
I'm kind of with you, Donald.
But
I've been saying that for a long time.
Nobody's trying to make NWI a thing. This is just who they have.
Well, you're forced to.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yes. NWI was a thing last year because you're forced to. You're forced to this year, but he's not a thing.
Again, 2 consecutive years, the Titans have tried to move NWI down the ladder. 2 consecutive years. Remember Julio, Josh Reynolds, and AJ. NWI was attempted to be 4. And everybody's like, look, NWI is 4. That sounds great. He can do well. He can block well. He can run. If he's the 4th option, then somebody's going to leave him open. And that's great. But again, everything happened. Josh Reynolds just flopped and didn't work out.
Josh Reynolds was pretty damn good in Detroit. We all know the situation. Here. There was a conflict between team and player.
It was Rashard Matthews
team and player.
Yes.
What?
It was a Rashard Matthews situation.
That type of situation. I would agree with that.
Yes.
Josh Reynolds, hell, I just picked him up off waivers on my fantasy football team. So I'm not picking up NWI or Austin Hooper or Kyle Phillips or Josh Gordon off my waiver wire.
Well, I mean, the Lions have the number 1 scoring offense in the entire league. So the
Titans are looking for offensive weapons.
Yes.
And they can't find them.
Right. And so,
but that was a huge impactful thing. Regardless of the situation, Josh Reynolds should have been, I mean, he would have gotten so much more opportunity because prior to him leaving, Julio and AJ got hurt and NWI got all of his reps. Imagine if he would have worked out and stuck around. Now you've got a comparable, number 2 to what you need. And Robert Woods can maybe fill that number 1 wide receiver hole for a period of time. Josh Reynolds was a swing and a miss, unfortunately, in a time of need now, as we know more now than we knew then.
But again, that was a 1-year deal last year. So even if it worked out last year for Josh Reynolds, would he be around this year? Probably not. And so in retrospect, you're actually
better than NWI.
In retrospect, you're actually glad that NWI got those reps last year because now you need him this year, right? So at least he got some training in.
NWI is not very good.
I know that, Zach, but that's who they have right now. And so at least he's got.
I didn't say that they didn't, but he's not very good.
Nobody's arguing that he is. It's just, again, my whole point is that I've said the last 2 years they've tried to bury him deeper on the depth chart, but people keep getting hurt and they keep mishandling situations. Like Josh Reynolds and AJ, if you want to throw them into a combined group of mishandled situations of very drastic different levels, but a mishandled situation and then injuries. That's why NWI today is still the 2nd wide receiver on the team active against the Commanders, just like it was a lot of the games last year, because they had injuries at the position and NWI is the only one who hasn't gotten hurt. And so that's who they have. And they trust him to do the right things, just like they trust Cody Hollister to do the right things. And NWI is way better than Cody Hollister. So you have that.
And Sheila's correct on this because this is more of what we were talking about yesterday. Wide receivers don't want to come to a power run football team. And this is a power run football team. That's who they are. Their best player is a running back. It's not a wide receiver and it's not a quarterback. And so this has always been my case of the struggle of what they're involved in now is they're kind of coming to a flux here in the next year or two with Derrick Henry consistently being dominant. I mean, I'm not denying that, but it's just not the way to either reel in more talent or win in the playoffs. And now you're in this situation where you got a bad wide receiver roster.
Yeah. Well, and Chris Frazier, who again just drives me insane. He says NWI isn't the answer, Austin. Well, it depends on the question that's being asked. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
Zach, guys, NWI is the correct answer for this question, right?
Well, we'll find out Sunday.
So. All right, who's got better numbers this year?
Well, it's based on production moving forward, right? No, but it's moving forward. We're not talking about in the past. We're talking about what's going to happen. So the question is not what happened previously. Let's get that corrected. Don't get that twisted. We are talking about what is going to happen now that Treylon Burks is sidelined. It's not about who got opportunity in the past. I think that Austin Hooper should be more a part of this offense, and I think he will because Burks won't be targeted because he's not on the field.
Right. Gino says Kyle's is the key with huge upsides. NWI is who he is, average at best. The other two are relevant. You guys even see my comments. Yes, Gino, we see your comments. We're not ignoring anybody's comments personally. But so again, NWI is the answer, in my opinion, to this question. Is he the answer long-term for the Titans at wide receiver? No. That's why they drafted. How many wide receivers have they drafted since NWI was an undrafted free agent? Dez, Burks, Phillips, 3, right?
McMath.
They're trying. Oh, McMath. Yes. Thank you. So 4, they're trying to replace him, but what has continued to happen? Injuries and mishandled situations. And who has not gotten hurt? NWI. That's why he's still around. Any response?
I mean, I think Facebook user is right. He's just a Band-Aid.
Yes.
I got a Band-Aid because I got, like, what kind of Band-Aid is he? Right? But he's right. Facebook user is correct. It's just a Band-Aid. Will that Band-Aid hold up? Or when I wash my hands, am I going to need a new Band-Aid? And it's because I got a hangnail. Hangnails are terrible. They are high up on the list of bad things to the human body. Hangnails. Worse than a paper cut, in my opinion.
I got a cardboard cut on my thumb. That sucked. That hurt.
Cardboard cuts are not fun either.
That one sucked. I'm not using a Band-Aid though. But anyway, so again, that's the situation. The Titans are in a bad spot because of mishandled situations and injuries at wide receiver that have continued to happen over the last 2 years. All right, let's move on to this next conversation.
We'll find out Sunday. Sunday, we'll find out of these four, and I'm sure we'll talk about it after the game and see who actually rose to the occasion and made the plays.
That's right. Zach, you have a funny video to make fun of the Titans opponent coming up, and we're going to ask an interesting question about the Washington Commanders, but first tell everybody about Farm Bureau health plans.
FBHP.com/A to Z is where you need to go. Plan on Farm Bureau health plans for health, dental, and vision. 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. 75 years they've been in business, and they can help you. They've helped me over the last 10 months because it's October. I started at the beginning of the year and I switched my plan. I'm really glad that I did. I saved 20%. I had a better plan and it was super easy. You go through a 25 to 35-minute health assessment. You answer the questions open and honestly. Once you answer those questions, they give you a quote. That quote for me was much better than my previous health plan. You can change your health plan today by visiting FBHP.com/ATOZ. You can call them. You can go online. That's the best part. You can find your plan in both different ways to do that, whether it's online or on the phone. FBHP.com/ATOZ.
BetMGM has the best new user promo going on right now, and that is a risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000. And you get that when you download and sign up the BetMGM app with our code ATOZ Sports. So do that today. You download the app, you plug in the code ATOZ Sports, make your first deposit, and then your first bet on pro football is risk-free up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualifications and eligibility requirements. Awards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or credit. For bets expiring 7 days. For problem game support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Zach, you have a funny video for the Washington Commanders. So I'm curious.
Well, we all know the process, right? They were the Washington Redskins, then they're the Washington football team, now they're the Washington Commanders, right? Dan Snyder, it's been documented. And the Titans don't play the Washington team that often because of NFC and the scheduling. But as I look at it, I look across the league of like, what team could I care less about? Like, absolute. And I love the NFL. I watch all of the games. I watched the Eagles destroy the Commanders in Washington a couple of weeks ago. So I watched them actually beat the Jags because I wanted to see the Jags in week 1. There is no other team, in my opinion, that just I'm numb to than the Washington Commanders. I have no feel. There's no fandom. I don't even think they have fans. Like, I feel like, the Washington, D.C. area, they're more worried about politics than they are about football. And long ago, the day of Joe Gibbs. And I saw this video when it first came out, and then it resurfaced on Twitter this week. This video encompasses how I feel about the Washington Commanders.
We are Commanders. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Washington Commanders football team. We've got a new slogan. Yeah, we took it off of Farmers, but the fact of the matter is, we are Commanders. Boy, it gets better every time, I tell you guys. Hey, like I always tell you guys from the Rally Captain, you rep it hard, But don't rip it at all. It's your boy Rally Captain, and we are Commanders. I love it, guys. Take care.
What was worse, the yell leader we saw yesterday or that?
Oh, the yell leader's worse. The yell leaders are worse.
They're a different kind of loser.
No,
I will say that.
The yell leaders are way worse.
Now let's have ourselves a fine Texas Aggie yell practice.
Whoop! Hey!
King of Aggies, hey!
That's all I can take. The yell leaders are worse. The yell leaders are worse. These people at least, are out there trying to, the Washington Commander people, or at least, I don't know. I can't say anything. But just the yell leaders are worse.
They're trying in all the wrong way.
Yeah,
Here's the facts that matter. And look, we're not going to get into a political discussion with the Redskins stuff, but they were stripped of their identity, right? And so they were unidentified for 2 years, and then they were told what their identity was, which is Commanders. They didn't vote. They didn't do anything. They just decided it. And they decided it because it was money, because they had to strategically get the domain and all of the trademark to profit off of it, because it is a profitable business. And so Dan Snyder, I mean, whether he got screwed or not, it ended up being a terrible situation. And Dan Snyder has put himself and his organization in a terrible situation. So, that lies with their leader.
Yeah.
I just think that they don't have an identity that you can resonate with. Like the Titans, when they transferred from the Oilers to the Titans, there was buzz, there was excitement, there was newness to it. Like then it made sense because of the Greek mythology and the Titans and the Parthenon and all that other stuff, right? And they had this cool logo. I actually, the flaming thumbtack, I like. The W wolf that I put at the bottom of the screen, like that doesn't do anything for me. So
yeah,
I think we've come up with a pretty good question. Here's power to the people. Which is the least likable NFL team out of these three teams? Is it the Commanders, the Texans, or the Browns? I think you could have sprinkled in the Jags in there, but because they have Trevor Lawrence and they're actually not doing terrible this year, for this timely question, Commanders, Texans, or Brown, least likable team?
So I know, like, I see immediately Titans fans come in and say the Texans, because of the AFC South. The Texans, I don't view are like that unlikable. Like, they're not a good franchise. They have their issues. They really messed up with the Deshaun Watson situation as a whole, but I don't think the Texans are super unlikable as a brand like the Washington Commanders are. There are so many things that are stacking up that are making the Washington Commanders even more unlikable than they already were. And like, think about this. Dan Snyder is a bad human being, it feels like. He just makes really creepy, cringy, bad decisions that don't put other people in good spots to succeed. And the work environment stuff is pretty awful. Then you've got probably the least likable quarterback in Carson Wentz to then join the least likable brand to make them even more unlikable. And then you got the name change. You've got all the crappy stadium. The stadium railing almost killed Jalen Hurts and Eagles fans last year. And so it's got to be the Washington Commanders. I don't think anybody else can be that unlikable. The Browns make stupid decisions all the time, but there's a lot more. I feel like there's history with the Browns that you respect at least. The Commanders, I don't know. It's just gross top to bottom.
Well, I think that the height of the Washington organization, the last height, I wouldn't even say it was Kirk Cousins making the playoffs with him, because they didn't want Kirk Cousins. He was on a franchise tag deal, right? They didn't believe in Kirk Cousins. Then they drafted Dwayne Haskins. That didn't work. And then now where they are with Carson Wentz. And then they went through a bunch of bad quarterbacks last year, over the last couple of years, because Fitzpatrick didn't work out. RG3, before he tore his ACL, that franchise was actually going this way.
Yeah.
And then that derailed
and they mishandled that. And they mishandled that one.
The answer is the Commander Redskin or football team. Like that's what it is. They are the least likable. They offer you nothing in the NFL. They have maroon or whatever, burgundy, whatever. I mean, I hate maroon because of Mississippi State, so it's already gross. But the colors, you don't want to rep those. Those are not good colors either. And so, like, all told, it has to be the Commanders.
Yeah. Yeah. Throughout the 80s and 90s, though, Washington had a fan base that was a more national fan base. Like they had, it was one of the, like in the early Titans days, if Washington came to Philadelphia Coliseum, there was a lot of Washington fans. But now it's like their organization has just deteriorated and eroded from bad decision after bad decision atop the leadership.
And I agree with Derek. The black uniforms that they wore last week in Dallas, those are kind of sick. Like, I kind of like those. They should have put those, like, they should have changed their brand, though. Like, they had a great opportunity to change, like, this sleek, new age, like, if you're going to go with the Commanders, those should have been their main uniforms. And then they come with something even better for their away, and then have an alternate that is different. But they botched that by making it look just like their previous uniforms.
Yeah. And I get the NFL probably didn't allow them to change their color scheme too much, because I know I've heard the late Floyd Reese talk about this with the Titans, is that the NFL chose the Titans color scheme for them. Like that was something that they didn't have control over, because you want a variety of color schemes across the league and you want them to be identifiable. And so I doubt the NFL would allow them to do that. So they were kind of stuck in a way with having a fresh start to change a brand.
Well, let's go
with
the black uniform route. Yeah. Let's go with the
uniforms. Look better.
Who else has black uniforms? The Jags, the Raiders,
Falcons,
the Panthers, Saints, the Panthers, but nothing had. I would be like, look, Dan Snyder, I would have fought for those. That should have been there.
Ravens, Eagles.
Yeah, but those aren't their primaries. So, like, I'm talking primaries.
Okay. I mean,
even the Jags, the blacks are not their primaries. Teal is now. So I still
Cardinals. I mean, a lot of teams have that secondary black.
They're just so much better than the what color is that? Burgundy?
I mean, I don't know.
Ron Burgundy?
I mean, you may look up the Commander's color.
Well, it's going to give you a number, but I don't know. I guess you call it burgundy. They're the least likable.
Let's see what their color identity is. This is great. Great content.
Maroon? Is it officially maroon? That makes it even worse. I think, or worse. I think it's burgundy. Uh-oh.
You have to type in Washington Commanders. It's burgundy and gold. Yeah, burgundy is the official title.
Burgundy
and gold. So
bump the burgundy.
Yeah, it's just really burgundy and gold is a bad combination together. It just looks dirty. It looks like it can't be cleaned up.
Yeah.
That, in my opinion. All right, A to Z Sports here live on this Thursday. It is time for the Magic Bucket. But first, let me tell everybody about Hughes & Coleman Injury Lawyers. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes & Coleman for a free case consultation at 800-800-4600. That's 800-800-4600. They are the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans, and they do great work when it comes to battling and fighting against the insurance company to get you every dollar that you deserve. They've recovered over $1 billion from their client or for their clients in the state of Tennessee and in Kentucky. So again, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation. That's 800-800-4600, principal office in Nashville, Tennessee.
BetMGM, they power us. They should power you in your phone. Download the app today in your Apple or Android store. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports for the king of the sports book. New users get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's $1,000 for your first bet, risk-free. And it is football season, baby. It's October, so you got games tonight. Big game tonight. Jonathan Taylor, I think we figured out a little bit more about why he wasn't practicing. He's not going to play tonight against Denver. You got two
different injuries. Two different injuries for Taylor. He had a toe injury last week before the Titans, and then he had a sprained ankle late in the game against the Titans.
Okay, I didn't realize about the sprained ankle. Yeah. Same foot, or do you know?
I don't know.
So the Colts and the Broncos, those are tonight. You can get on the action with BetMGM.
All right, time for the Magic Bucket. Magic Bucket to end our show every Thursday. It is my sticker week, and it's the first Thursday of October, which means we've got spooky dog sticker. We got a dog right there that's dressed up as a mummy. You can't, it's not.
It's like a pug.
It's a pug as a mummy. If it will go, come on now, focus on my little pug here. But there's my sticker that goes in the bucket right here, right next to last year's dog carrying a pumpkin. So I've got my Halloween stickers. It's that
back
time,
to back.
that time of year. So happy spooky season to everybody. All right. So my sticker week, which means I pull the bucket first. And here we go. Let's see what we got. Community question. I don't think you've had this, but I haven't. If I could buy one type of car, what would it be? If I could buy one type of car, what would it be? I'll think about that. And then everybody else can fill in their comments because you guys get to do that as well. So one type of car, what would you buy? What would it be? And then here is, if I can pull out one, here is Zach's. All right, Zach. You have to go grab something out of your fridge right now and eat it on camera.
Okay.
All right, so Zach's going to go do that. Going to grab something out of the fridge to see what you got. And then somebody keeps commenting that MJ retired today. MJ who? Like, be more specific. I mean, Michael Jordan retired from doing what? From being rich. I mean, if you want to say it, break some news in the chat, be more specific on who MJ is that retired there. So we'll see what happens. See if Zach gets back here with. All right, let's see what you got. They got to get his ears back in.
Have you thought of your car?
Yeah.
What is your car?
My car is, I think Teslas are cool. I like them. I would probably get the highest level Tesla. And that's what I would roll with the electric car that has all the bells and the whistles
doors?
in there. With the doors. Yep, absolutely. That's what I would go with. I don't have anywhere to charge it at my house, so I would need to get something there. So I would go the highest end Tesla, but I'd have to have a charging system. But if I could buy the highest end Tesla, then I could easily just afford the ability to set up a charging station at home.
Yeah, nobody's really talking about what about the power outages in Florida because of the hurricane? What are those Tesla drivers doing?
I don't know. It's a good question. It's a good question.
So if California has a earthquake because they're trying to get rid of all gas vehicles, that could be bad. Once power out goes out, you don't have any. You can't go anywhere. You're stuck.
It's true.
Gas doesn't work on Teslas.
That's right.
So
that's right. What'd you get them from the fridge here?
This is an experiment, and I actually have not tasted these yet. I decided one day that I was going to start to jar. And these are homemade pickled okra.
Okay.
Spicy pickled okra.
All right. This is good.
Right. And so I have not. So here's the original. I actually bought, these were delicious before, and they were so good that I bought some okra and I basically I double dipped. So I put some fresh okra in there. This has been in the fridge for probably over a month. And so we are going to find out if this is worth
Real
it.
quick. What's in the pickle?
You've got vinegar, okra, spices, pepper,
what spices?
and garlic.
What spices?
That I do not know. Again, it was half homemade, half used.
So you just grabbed like a spice mix. Okay.
But it is new because it just popped open. So I hope these are good. I don't know though. Pretty good.
Yeah.
There you go. Spicy pickled okra.
Is that a weird thing to eat at 9:20 in the morning because it's going to linger throughout the day?
It was pretty good. It probably going to leave a bad taste in my mouth or a weird taste in my mouth for a little bit, but
yeah,
I'm glad they worked.
You still got a few hours before lunchtime. So you're just going to have pickled okra mouth for like a couple hours here?
I did it more for the show. I could have grabbed something else a lot easier.
That's like, I was trying to think about what would I grab.
Now you're making me think about the taste in my mouth. And I'm like, dang, it's 9:21. I don't want to have this taste in my mouth.
It's probably good, but again, that's why I would have gone with like grapes or something. Just pop it.
It was good though. It was good.
Good. I'm glad it was good. That does sound yummy. All right, A to Z Sports. Thanks to everybody watching the show today. Solid show talking Titans. Who is Ryan Tannehill going to be able to throw to if Treylon Burks can't go on Sunday against the Commanders? So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like the show before you go. Right now, the chat on YouTube is hiding the like button. So after we end the show, that chat goes away and you can like the show before you go right there on YouTube. Always make sure you subscribe to our channel for more Titans content. Sam Phelan going back to Titans practice again today for more inside the locker room content as well. And Buck Rising live tonight on A to Z Sports Primetime. See you guys tomorrow morning on a Friday. Talk to you soon. Appreciate it as always.